Gamestork, delivering news, reviews, and playthroughs like a newborn baby. Hey guys, what's up? This is Jeff with Gamestork, and today I wanted to discuss with you the new Nintendo 2DS and its release, and ask the question, perhaps maybe even answer a little bit of this question: is it smart to be releasing this if you're Nintendo right now? And is this something that is, will work out well for Nintendo? We can't fully answer these questions right now, but I have jotted down a few little notes, a few things that we can look at to maybe determine whether or not this is a good decision by Nintendo. So, without further ado, let's dig right in. Now, number one, I want to point out the sales. Every console, regardless of who you are, whether you're Xbox, PlayStation, any console in itself, whether it be handheld, anything, your main goal is to build a large install base, which means a number of units sold. That means people who own this, who install games onto this, who purchase games, and this is what you want. As of right now, the 3DS sales, which I assume include these 2DS units, that came out just a few years ago, are sitting right at 66.12 million units. So, I don't think that Nintendo's immediately just going to jump off right now of a ledge and just do away with this install base that they've been building towards, especially considering the DS install base by the end of its life cycle was at 154 million units. And that's huge. That is huge. That's almost at the top of the most units ever sold, which the PlayStation 2 was at the top of that at 155 million. So we know that this is a big deal for them. Nintendo probably will invest into the 3DS and this new 2DS into the future to grow the install base. The reason I'm grouping these together is because they play the exact same games. Essentially, it's the same console with the 3D portion taken off. Now, here's the thing. Recently, I posted a video about the fact that I believe that the Nintendo 3DS would be dead in 2018. And the reason I say this is because the Switch is also a portable unit. And Nintendo, as of right now, they're pushing their interest into three different areas, which is the console area with the Nintendo Switch also being a handheld viable system. And then you have the Nintendo 3DS, which is also now incorporates this 2DS XL, which I believe that they're probably just going to go in that direction in the future, and mobile. So they're still split into three areas, and it would make sense from a business perspective to consolidate those, perhaps down into two, and push your mobile gaming interest and creation and teams and all that stuff, all of your effort into the Nintendo Switch. But here's the thing, as I thought about this and saw, Reggie said that they're going to continue, Reggie Fils-Aimé, if you don't know who Reggie is, Reggie, that guy down the street, the one that sells the bread, I'm kidding, but Reggie Fils-Aimé said that they are going to be making games for the 3DS into 2018, which shows me, initially, I'll wait until I see it at E3, but if they do actually have games scheduled for 2018, then we know that the death of the Nintendo 3DS or the new 2DS XL, whatever, is going to be prolonged into the future. Now, this is good news for me. I love the 3DS. It's been my favorite console for quite some time, because I love gaming on the go, and I love, even just at home, sometimes I'll grab my 3DS and sit on the couch. Now I can do that with the Switch. Having kids or having other people that want a television and having to divide your television time, I don't always feel like coming into my office and playing games in the office, just being off alone by myself. But, alright, let's jump right in here. So the question is this new Nintendo 2DS XL smart? The first thing I want to look at is marketability. Now, this thing is cheap, okay? It's got the same abilities and capabilities as the outside of 3D as the new Nintendo 3DS, and they're launching this thing brand new out of the box at $149. This is crazy cheap for something that can do what this little system can do. Now, what I am worried about with this is I think perhaps this should have come out maybe a year ago. Reason being that I believe that they would have boosted their sales, first of all, of that 2DS unit, and I don't think they would have competed so much with the Nintendo Switch. For the casual market who are out perhaps this year purchasing a system for their children's birthday or maybe Christmas at some point, I think this might cause a little bit of confusion, and they're going to say, you know, the Switch thing is $299, but this other one's half the price. Maybe we should go with that. Now, sure, it does make Nintendo money, but you would think that as of right now, Nintendo wants to push the Switch first and foremost. Now, who am I to say anything? The Switch is still selling out like crazy, and it's not, as we speak, they restocked this thing Friday and it's already gone. Hours is what it's saying on shelves, and that makes me really happy. But as far as the marketability, they have to be careful not to compete with themselves and cause a division among their consumers. Now, the price is brilliant. I mean, this thing's $149. You can't beat that with a stick. And the consumer base, come on, you already have 66 million people, so you know developers are going to be creating games. You know that, you know, you can count on those developers with that huge install base. And I mean, come on, this thing has a bunch of content already available. Which brings up my next point, the library. I mean, come on, the Nintendo 3DS has a deep library. Games upon games upon games upon games. Many first parties, many third parties. There are so many games on this thing that are good, it's not even funny. So if you're just now, as a kid, walking into this console generation for the 3DS, and you just so happen to purchase this new Nintendo 2DS XL, oh my goodness, are you walking into a gold mine of titles, years and years worth of titles that are all wonderful. We're talking about great stuff. And so the library on this is impressive, and it is just, which is one of the reasons that this was outside of the Nintendo Switch. This was like of my top favorite consoles. I love this thing. It's fantastic. So the library is great. Now, future support was what I was worried about, and you know, Nintendo hasn't come out so far and said 2018, here's our lineup for the Nintendo Switch. So it still worries me a little bit, and thinking maybe that this thing's coming out at $149 because, you know what, they're going to sell as many as they can before they cut it off and move on to the next thing, which is the Nintendo Switch. And maybe that's what they're going to do. Perhaps they're going to cut off the line of the Nintendo 3DS and just focus on the new Nintendo 2DS XL so that they can focus more on the Nintendo Switch, and maybe they're going to rely on the back catalog of games to sell those Nintendo 2DSs. And that's a high probability. However, knowing Nintendo, man, they're just crazy enough to keep this 2DS thing going and also keep the Nintendo Switch moving along. I think E3 will be telling. It really will be telling on this, and we'll see whether or not they plan, again, whether or not they plan to really invest themselves into the future in, you know, as far as those handheld markets are concerned with the Nintendo 3DS and 2DS. But until then, all we can do is speculate. Now, as of right now, with them, with them announcing that, which is oddly enough a Thursday night at like 9 p.m. Who does that other than Nintendo? Nobody, right? They don't care. But Nintendo announced this thing, and it's out. It's out there now. This is their plan. So either they're going to use this to cheapen the cost of a console to bring in more consumers who don't have them and count on the back catalog of games in order to sell it, or they're going to really invest in this thing into the future, at least a few more years, and they're going to sell the crap out of these, make more money, and while also marketing the Nintendo Switch. I'll tell you this, if you haven't noticed, Nintendo has nailed the marketing on the Nintendo Switch. And not only that, you know, I was just sitting on the couch here, 30 minutes ago, and I pulled out my Nintendo Switch, and I began playing Mario Kart on the Switch, and this is the first time I've actually played Mario Kart on the Switch. And man, this thing is just magic. It's so wonderful. And I haven't felt this way about a console in a long time. I'll put it that way. And so I'm really excited about the future of Nintendo. I'm excited about the Switch. I'm excited about the future of this new 2DS XL. I think it's great, wonderful. And one thing I haven't even mentioned is the fact that even though we have the 3D capabilities, I would say that I use maybe 10% of the time, maybe less, is when I turn on that 3D. I don't know about you guys. I love it. don't get me wrong, and there are games where I'm like, yeah, this will look great in 3D, but ultimately, you know, I don't play with it on. I don't know why. I guess initially I did more, but I don't so much now. So I don't think that that's going to affect the sales or anything like that. Anywho, guys, that's going to do it for this discussion. There's so much more I could talk about, but I wanted to be as brief as possible, while also being very informative. So I didn't want to talk for an hour, since it's just me. But considering the install base and everything, let me know what you feel. Do you think that this is wise for Nintendo to continue developing new iterations of their 3DS line and 2DS line? Or do you think it's going to hurt the Switch sales? And on top of that, are you excited about this? I mean, this thing looks really sleek. It's almost like an off-carbon fiber type, really awesome looking little console. And I can't wait to see what the screen looks like. Are you excited? Do you think you're going to pick one of these up? You know, whatever it is that's on your mind about it, let's discuss it below. And guys, thank you so much for watching. I certainly appreciate you. If you enjoy my content here at Gamestork, please like and subscribe below, and we will see you next time. Space Cowboy, anime reference awesomeness. Bye.